Welcome back to Game On Now. This weekend, of course, we see a return of South African football in as far as the club scene, and there's no better way to start the South African League than the top 8. And let's talk fixtures here, gents. Pirates, 12 times winners in the way of the top 8. SuperSport United, 3 times winners, both seen as cup teams, or maybe Pirates cup teams over the years, or a cup team over the years. SuperSport once seen as cup specialists as well. What a way to start the season, Jay.
What a game to open the season, honestly speaking. I mean, that will be like a cup team versus a specialist team. Yeah. So it's going to be exciting. But if we just look at the news, we know everything about Pirates pre-season, but we haven't heard anything about SuperSport pre-season. So that's where you start looking and say, who's ready for this coming weekend? So for me, if I have to choose the winner, obviously I'll go with Pirates.
Now, we all know, everybody knows about Pirates pre-season. They've watched Pirates, and for SuperSport, being an unknown factor, is that an advantage for them, Shane?
Big advantage.
Yeah, I think so.
Of course you're going to say Pirates. Yeah. We all know. But, big advantage for them, you know, because if you look at it, Pirates don't know what to expect going into this game. Sundowns, I mean, SuperSport always do this every season. You know, they bring in players, they get rid of players, they bring in a few more, they play a few more youngsters, so you don't really know what to expect from them. If you look at history, they're normally slow starters in the beginning of the season. They always take a little bit of time to get going, to get gelling. It worries me because I think Pirates are more of a settled team. They've done a lot more, which we've seen, but never ever underestimate SuperSport. Never ever do that. You know, Gavin Hunter's very good at getting the best out of his players. He will have a team that's ready. He's not going to be going out there just to show the game. He's going to be out there to win.
I love the fact that the top 8 goes back to the early 70s. And in your guys' careers, you also played in the top 8 in starting a season. Something about South African football and top 8, that's very unique to South African football. How important is it to start your season with the top 8 before the league gets underway, to get games under your belt and get momentum ahead of other teams that aren't in the top 8?
Yeah, it's vital because if you look at, like for instance, Chiefs are not involved in this.
Yeah.
It gives them a little bit of time to get their house in order. So for me, I used to hate top 8 because I was always unfit. Off-season, I always used to be like Jerry is now, you know,
more like I am now.
But, I always used to pick up weight, and I always used to struggle for the beginning up until the season really started.
But then,
for me, it wasn't the greatest, but you know, you've got to play.
Though, top 8 gets you ready for the start of the PSL season. How do you feel about the top 8?
Now, me, I need to count against them because that's where you start looking at yourself as a player. Because remember, if you play the top 8, it's just a cup that comes and goes. But if you don't feel like do well in the league, that's where you will suffer because you won't have the chance to play the top 8. So for me, the top 8 is a stepping stone of how are you gonna perform when the league comes. So that's the most important starter of the season, where you just give your best. Even if you're a player, you are a new signee, you always want to be seen in that competition. So for me, it is important because it's a stepping stone to what's going to happen the whole season.
The other fixture we have to talk about, the Stellenbosch players in the COSAFA that had some international experience. Not too many, but there's some players out there. Galaxy we've seen most recently against Augsburg, against international sides as well in their pre-season preps. Your thoughts about those teams and that game?
Once again, you know, you look at it's 2 teams. The one we know are going to be Stellenbosch are going to be ready for it. You know, we haven't seen much about them. What's happening? They brought in 1 or 2 players. We know all about them, that they're steady. I think they'll be ready for this game. Galaxy, are they going to be ready? The coach, there's problems around the coach. What's happened? You know, is he going to be 100% behind the players? Did he have all the players working for him? There's always question marks when it comes to that. Very, very difficult game to call, but I'm going to lean towards the Stellenbosch victory here.
Well, we are looking forward to the start of the new campaign, and as far as the return of South African football, starts this weekend, starts today. Something to look forward to, and we'll be busy at it until, May next season. So here we go, as we take a short break and come back with a special interview on the other side of this.